Welcome in then to the latest edition of Extra Time. A busy couple of days, hasn't it? I know we've all missed international football over all this time, but, we've just about coped with it. We discussed this on the show with Stevie. His second year, Mourinho unstoppable. He constantly wins the league his second year. Manchester United fans may well disagree. But, Stevie, a lot of people were writing Jose Mourinho off, weren't they? As a dinosaur, he was past it. He's kind of proving them wrong a bit.
Well, I think he's not playing any different football than he was. When you had City and Liverpool playing attacking, silky, entertaining, fantastic football, then it made him look a little like a dinosaur. The fact is, the Premier League right now, there isn't really anybody that stands out, and so he can get away with the tactics he's playing right now, just because of winning games.
So reluctant to give Mourinho any compliments. So reluctant to give any compliments, Stevie.
Look, if you want to sit and watch a team doing that week in and week out, if you're a Spurs fan, I guess you don't care, because right now you're winning games.
Gab Marcotti is doing his best Santa Claus impression.
I think Stevie's being slightly harsh. Now, I'll concede that obviously Spurs counterattack very well. I don't think it's straight out of the playbook that we've seen before. If you look at what he does with Harry Kane, for example, it's different. It's not just having a speedy guy up front leading the line and lumping balls to him on the counter. I think he drops off and does different things. And they can probably beat you in different ways. They have a guy like Lo Celso who you can use in certain situations if the other team parks the bus. Look, I don't know that they're going to win the title. They probably won't. And my main concern would be perhaps in central defense, where I'm not a big Eric Dyer fan. But I'll tell you what they do now in terms of counterattacking, they do very, very well. And I think they're very well drilled by Mourinho in that. Certainly far better than he was able to drill Manchester United when he was the manager there.
Do you think that when the panelists all predict the same outcome, it jinxes the game? I've only noticed it once or twice, but as a Spurs fan, I was happy this weekend when I heard what everyone thought would happen.
Did we all pick Napoli as well to beat,
you definitely picked Napoli today, yes, Shaq.
To get something against AC Milan. Yeah, it's not a good omen.
In the years that we've worked together, I remember hashtag Shaka curse.
Yes.
Was trending at some stage.
I tried to pass that curse on to many people, but nobody else would have it.
Every prediction you made was wrong.
Yeah, that's about right.
Stevie, does Arteta need to suck up his pride and let Ozil back in the team?
Well, no, because clearly Ozil doesn't do anything that he thinks is going to help the team. Listen, I don't think Arteta would hesitate if he thought he could put Ozil in that team and he would actually make it better. I don't think he's an egomaniac at all, Arteta. I think he's quite a sensible guy. And the way he had them playing, particularly last season, got results. So, no, I think if he thought Ozil could make them better, I think absolutely he would swallow his pride and play him.
What do you think, Gab? 9 goals in 9 games, isn't it, at the moment?
Look, I said from the start, they should have gone for the rebuild. Instead, they handed out an enormous contract to Aubameyang. They signed Willian on another enormous contract, and they built a team to try and win right now. So adding another guy who's not going to be part of your future, like Mesut Ozil, I don't see how that helps. I think take your licks and try to, if you can't win now, try to turn it into a learning opportunity that's going to make you better next season. And Ozil is not going to be a part of Arsenal next season. And given what happened and given the acrimony between the two, he shouldn't be a part of it this season either.
But Gab, they couldn't have not given Aubameyang a new contract.
Couldn't they?
Well, he's their best player. Who are you going to bring in instead?
I don't have an issue with giving Aubameyang a new contract, but if you're going to do that, then you don't sign Willian when you already have a whole bunch of wingers, whether it's Martinelli or Saka or Nicolas Pepe or whatever. If you go with Aubameyang, then maybe you don't extend or maybe you sell Lacazette. At some point, you have to look at what you're doing and say, are we in a position to compete right now? In which case, fine, let's go with the older players. Or you say, do we want to be really, really good in 2 or 3 years' time? In which case, you invest in younger players. And it seems to me that they haven't done that. They have some tremendous younger players, but they've added a whole bunch of 30-somethings on enormous money around them. And the risk is that you often do pay a price for that.
Shaka and Stevie. Shaka, let's go with you. I
Okay.
don't think you've spoken for a while. Given the rivalry emerging between Firmino and Jota at Liverpool, who were the biggest teammate rivals of your playing career? It must have been weird with goalkeepers because you're training alone, you're kind of in your own little bubble. If one doesn't like another, then it must be a bit tricky.
It's tough, yes.
Did you have people who didn't like you?
I don't know. You'll have to ask them. Listen. As a goalkeeper, it's different because you work together and you rely on each other for service and whatever drills you go on. You have to maintain a certain standard. You have to maintain a certain level of professionalism. But knowing full well that the only way you're going to get back in the team is if that person gets injured or has a bad run of form, which you don't wish on.
But is that rare because you're you?
No, that's how as far as I know, all goalkeepers interact. They work on the park, always work well together because you rely on each other so much on the training ground. You might go to dinner with each other, but on the field, goalkeepers get on really well.
Stevie, did you find that as well? I know Firmino and Jota aren't goalkeepers, but that dynamic fascinates me.
I actually wasn't listening to what Shaka said. I was trying to come up with
What were you doing?
I was actually trying to come up with a scenario that two players were kind of vying for one spot. But listen, I guess before you had such big squads, you were generally losing 13 or 14 players. And again, back then it was all about who was in charge of the jersey. If you were playing well, then that was it. You played, and they didn't change it. So I can't really come up with any.
That's all right. Don't force it,
So
Stevie.
what did Shaka say anyway?
I'm not saying it again.
Shaka said goalkeepers are best friends. That was it. Hey, Gab, which one is more likely to do...
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, wait, here we go.
You just reminded me what you said there.
Go on.
I had a couple of goalkeepers at the Revs.
Oh, if only someone had asked you about that initially.
Yeah. No, I had two goalkeepers, Aidan Brown and Jurgen Sommers. And I didn't actually know until I actually dropped Jurgen Sommer that he wasn't particularly keen on Mr. Aidan Brown. And he told me in no uncertain ways.
And what was your response to that, Stephen? Brilliant.
He's frozen.
It's frozen. We'll never know what Summers said to Stevie. Hey, Gab, which one is more likely to derail Liverpool's season? Alien kidnapping of Klopp for the players or injuries? This goes back, of course, to the statement you made, back in January, I think.
Yeah, I think alien kidnapping of Jurgen Klopp is always the single biggest problem that they could face. I mean, you saw it again tonight, right? 5-6 out from his best 11, and they put on a performance like that against Leicester City. I genuinely feel like Klopp is the single least replaceable part of this Liverpool team.
Should we go to Stevie and see if he's still frozen?
Let's see.
Is he still frozen? Let's have a look.
Has he paid his bill? Have you paid your Wi-Fi bill, Stevie?
Oh, it's completely gone. It's gone. Gab, how do you feel about the jam-packed schedule of fixtures? What, if any, are the solutions to avoid player injury? Perhaps the stopping of transcontinental travel for players not playing on their continent of nationality?
I don't get the why transcontinental travel is necessarily, causes so many more injuries than simply the fact that players don't have time to train and recover in their weekly schedules. I think this is a major issue. I think this is an issue where the players' unions have, I think, in some ways let the players down a little bit. I know why they did it. They did it because players' unions in most countries, they don't just look after the guys who play for Manchester United and Real Madrid. They look after the League One and League Two guys, and there was an imperative that they should play every game. And it's not so much a problem if you're not an international and you don't play European competition. Then fine, you're still only playing once a week, generally, occasionally twice a week. But it is an issue at the top, and I think one of the things that I think they're going to have to consider, or I would like to see them consider at least going forward, is, and I know it's going to sound absurd, but maybe in the same way that if you're an airline pilot, you can only get back and pilot a plane if you've had X amount of rest from the last time you were out. Maybe you have a rule that you can only play X amount of minutes in the previous 3 months or 6 months or whatever it is. But I think we have to seriously consider that, because it's not just injuries, it's also poor performances. Players who are not fit, and we saw that with Man City just before the break when they played, was it Liverpool they played, they're not going to turn in good performances. It's as simple as that. And then you have a crappy product out on the pitch. So I think hopefully next season's not going to be like this, but it is something to think about, because in the end, you're going to get diminishing returns.
So let me just to be clear. The solution here proposed by that question is, if you're not European, you don't play international football.
Is that it?
That's what I take from the tweet. That's what I take from the question.
I just heard pilot bit. Is Kepa the worst signing of all time, now that we can see what Mendy can do for a quarter of the price?
That's harsh. The worst signing of all time.
Worst signing of all time. Where's Nicolas Pepe? Hello. There's a lot of money. It's all down to money, isn't it? You could throw at the moment in Antoine Griezmann.
Correct. Which I was about to say, which was more money.
Eden Hazard, you could throw in as well for Real Madrid. Of recent signings and with money.
They were more than Kepa and easy replaced.
Coutinho.
Yeah. Again.
Stop mentioning Barcelona guys, Dan. Why are you so anti-Barcelona?
He said Eden Hazard.
Dembele.
He said Eden Hazard.
Gab,
Wait, Kevin Prince Boateng?
No, that's not how much money. We're talking big money, Shaka. That's not Shaka. What's your name, Gab?
He's Gab.
We're talking big money, aren't we?
You still have to pay him a lot of money.
Yeah, but no one cares about that bit.
Wages,
you care about big transfer fees, don't you? When you think of those ones, like Kepa, record-breaking fee for a goalkeeper, and he's rubbish. Who else would you throw?
Hey, Kepa's obviously not played well, but the thing about Kepa, I mean, realistically, in the accounting world, what's going to happen is he'll probably be sent out on loan, and unless he continues to have massive stinkers, Chelsea will probably sell him for some fee, which will probably be between 20 and 30 million, and they'll take a hit on it, but because he's still young and he has a long-term contract, it's not necessarily going to be as damaging as some other ones. So certainly not a good signing, although, at the time, there's a reason why his fee was so high, which was that, they just moved Courtois on, and they had to go and pay his release clause, and then things went from bad to worse very, very quickly.
Yes.
How much did Man United play for? Was it Taibbi? Remember him?
Oh yes. I don't.
Gab would know. Gab knows these kinds of things.
I can't believe you're turning on a fellow goalkeeper.
Yeah.
I know Massimo Taibbi is a massive figure of fun, but they paid £4.5 million for him.
That's all right.
That's all right.
Hey, don't worry about that.
The weird thing is, while he obviously made several high-profile mistakes, he also says, and he told me this himself, that I think in his 5 appearances for Manchester United, he won 2 Man of the Match awards.
Whoa! There you are, Shaq. Any Man of the Match awards you win?
I don't know. I lost count.
Stevie? Is Stevie back with us? Do you want to join?
Back.
Hey, there he is!
Hey, Gab. Obviously the worst re-signing was Ozil, but who was the guy in the early 90s, Real Betis signed the Brazilian for an absolute fortune?
Denilson, the step-over king.
Oh, yeah.
Denilson. Yeah, there you go.
He wasn't necessarily a massive dud. It's just in relation to I think the transfer fee at the time was I think the third or fourth highest in history, and obviously he never quite lived up to it.
Who was a dud then, Gab? You keep defending everyone. And don't say some minuscule person we've never heard of.
I'm not. There's a lot of bad signings. There's a lot of overpriced signings. I think what tends to happen.
We want names. I don't want an explanation. I want a name, Gab.
You mentioned a whole lot of them before.
Well, you shouted at me.
I mean, the Philip Coutinho signing. Not a good signing.
There you are.
Happy?
Coutinho's a dud. Right, there we are. Move on. Has Zlatan Ibrahimovic cemented his place as one of the top 5 greatest strikers of all time? Ooh. Stevie, you said he'd be rubbish in Italy.
I didn't say he'd be rubbish. I basically said he wouldn't be fit. But that is certainly up until now. He did do his hamstring against Napoli. But yeah, I didn't expect him to score some.
Why are you smiling about that?
It was his fitness I had a problem with. What?
He did his hamstring.
Yeah. Done his hamstring against Napoli.
I know, but you said that with a smile on your face.
He's out for the season.
He's out
for the season. So I was right. I said no more than 10.
He's got 11.
There you go.
He's got 11.
Yeah, I think the panel took one away today.
Top 5 greatest striker of all time, Gab.
That's a good question.
Top 5 greatest center forwards of all time. I think it's close. I mean, I don't know if you want me to go back to Ferenc Puskás and Gerd Müller and people like that.
Well,
Marco
that's
van
all time,
Basten
isn't it?
Put in the conversation.
That means ever. I said it's all time.
Yeah,
that means ever. You can go back as far as you want.
Best 39-year-old striker of all time, surely.
How many are there?
Absolutely.
Yes,
100%.
I think.
Yeah, I think
without question.
Yeah, I think we can tick that box.
Yeah.
Without going down too much of a rabbit hole.
Good, Dad. Good.
No, I think that's it. Like, it just means we can finish and go home.
Yeah.
That is it. Thank you very much, Stephen. Thank you for your contribution. Wonderful. We will be back tomorrow for more. Until then, goodbye. Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.